Children, we have already done diversity in organisms in class 9, in which we were able to classify organisms according to the hierarchies of characteristics between species. Similarities among organisms allow us to group them for studying fundamental similarities or differences among them. The more characteristics two species will have in common, the more closely they are related, and thus more recently they will have had a common ancestor. Now, if we go to the beginning of life forms, we will see that all the species that we see today in this earth have evolved from those simple life forms, and even human beings have evolved from them. It becomes quite surprising that we have such a complex body that has evolved from very simple life forms. So, are there any pieces of evidence that prove this could be true? Here in this topic, we shall provide with some of the evidences that prove that all the organisms on this earth have common ancestors. The three sources of evidence for evolution that we will take up are homologous organs, analogous organs that provide the morphological evidences, fossils that provide the paleontological evidences, and study of embryology that provide us the embryological evidence. Let us understand how the presence of homologous organs provide evidence for evolution. Homologous organs are the organs that have similar basic structure but perform different functions in different species. Example, forelimbs of frog, lizard, bird, humans have same basic structure, that is, a long humerus bone attached to two bones, that is radius and ulna, which further have carpals and phalanges. However, these organs are meant to perform different functions in all these organisms. Like the forelimbs of frog help it to prop up the front end of the body at rest and also act as shock absorbers. The forelimbs of lizards help them in creeping movements. The forelimbs of birds are modified for flying, while the forelimbs of humans are being used for grasping. Another example of homologous organs for your syllabus is the tendrils of cucurbits and spines of bougainvillea. Though it is not in the NCERT textbook, but if asked, you can write. Next, the analogous organs. Analogous organs are the organs that have different basic structure but perform similar functions. Examples, the wings of insects and wings of birds have different basic structures but perform the function of flight. Another example you can quote of analogous organs is potato, which is a stem, and sweet potato, which is a root, but both perform the same function, which is storage of food. Next is fossils. Fossils are the remains or impressions of dead animals and plants that lived in the remote past. Now, how do we know the age of a fossil? So here are two ways to know the age of a fossil. First is the relative method. If the earth is dug to locate fossils, the fossils that are found closer to the surface are more recent than the fossils that are found in deeper layers. Second is the carbon dating method. To date the rocks or fossils, all living organisms contain some carbon-14 atoms which are radioactive. When a living organism dies and forms fossils, its carbon-14 radioactivity goes on decreasing gradually. In carbon dating method, the age of fossils is found by comparing the C14 radioactivity left in fossils with the C14 radioactivity present in the living organisms found today. There are various kinds of fossils which have been studied, and in your syllabus, if you look at the pictures, you will find a few pictures of the fossils like ammonite, which is a fossil of invertebrate mollusk, tribolite, which is a fossil of another invertebrate, nita is a fossil of a fish, and fossil of a dinosaur is also excavated from Narmada Valley.